Hey, you're back! Or this is the first one you're watching. There's no way for me to know. Well, I'm glad you're here. I am your host, American Jesus, and the following will be my opinions. And the great thing about, 12-step fellowships is that your opinion is just as valid as anybody else's, unless you go to a meeting that's full of people that think that their opinion is the opinion of everybody and that's the only opinion. And then we're going to the meetings that I used to go to recently, and so you're not going to stay clean or sober, because it's the same thing. But today, the topic for this video, the topic I would love to discuss is something you hear in meetings a lot, definitely hear it in Narcotics Anonymous. It's jails, institutions, and death. I love going through the comments and they're like, hey, my internet's life and death, and you're just killing people. And I'm like, damn, man, I have that much power. I can kill people. How do you know that what you just typed didn't kill people? I mean, what is this, frickin' Death Note? It's an anime reference. So you hear that a lot in meetings. Jails, institutions, and death. Jails, institutions, and death. If you don't, blah, 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 jails, institutions, and death. Now, in most areas, this is very similar to, let's say, if you're going to a Baptist church. If you're going to a Baptist church, you'll hear a lot about a place that's very hot and just not comfortable to be in. And this is what we in the enlightened world call fear-mongering. If you really don't have a very good product to sell, you let the person know that if they don't buy it, something severely bad will happen to them. Like death, or jails, or institutions. I don't know what type of institutions, but I'm assuming that they're not good ones. So, fear-mongering, it works good to a certain point, but it actually is fundamentally self-defeating, because the fear itself becomes the focus of the individual's anxiety. And so most people don't really want to live their entire life afraid of dying. And so meetings eventually stop being particularly attractive unless you continue to buy that lie that if you leave the meetings, you will die. Because it's a lie, and everybody that's on the internet knows it's a lie, because y'all have Facebook, and y'all, hopefully, you're not so terrified that you immediately unfriend anybody who doesn't go to meetings anymore, or maybe is having a drink every once in a while. And to be honest with you, you may not even know that some of these people who you haven't seen in a long time, it's because they're not sober anymore. And you don't know that because you're assuming that if they weren't sober anymore, that they would be in jail. And so how are they doing their Facebook updates? Because I don't think that they have those in prison. But my point being that, these people are fine. They're fine. They're okay. A lot of them are actually doing really well because they're not spending all of their time sitting in a meeting. They're spending time going out and learning how to do stuff, or going to college, or working, or starting their own business. It's amazing when you're not going to 3 meetings a day how much time you have on your hands to learn and to explore and to just do living things and not dying things. So generally, generally people that I talk to that will actually kind of acknowledge this fact will say something along the lines of this. Yeah, I saw so-and-so. I saw so-and-so, and she was like totally at the convenience store, and she just, I know she's not drinking really, and she's not doing drugs, I know that, but she just looked miserable. Now, first off, that's like super bitchy, all right? That's super bitchy. Like, don't go to a meeting talking shit about people that aren't in meetings, because that's exactly what you're doing. It just sounds really petty. Like, well, she's fine, but she can't be fine, because otherwise I've been wasting my life. So, you know, you have to kind of like tear them down. There's this phrase, something, you know, like tart fruit that, you know, that are on the vine and you can't reach it, and so you say it's no good. But I can't, escapes me. Generally, my retort, other than some of the things that I've said, is that, you know, you do realize you're not a happy person. You're not happy. I see you come to meetings all the time. So even if they are unhappy, how is that different from where you are? I mean, because you're not happy. I see you. You're not happy. And so it doesn't hold a lot of water, you know, to say, oh, well, these people are miserable. Because if you weren't already miserable, you would not feel the need to talk about how miserable these people are. You only talk about it because you're miserable. You only talk about it because you're miserable and they have to be miserable. Or maybe they are miserable. But if you're happy, you would just be like, oh, well, she seemed unhappy, but I didn't talk to her about it. Or him. Or them. By the way, just got my kids back. For the 5th time since I've been clean. No, you're the miserable one. There's this neat little word you need to learn. It's called projection. And also, there's another neat little phrase you need to learn. It's called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is when you believe something to be true, and so all of the evidence that you appear to see confirms that that is true. Case in point, you may have been in a meeting at some point. Somebody may have said, I've never seen someone come back into these rooms and said it got better out there. Yeah, why would they? Why would they? Now, I've seen a lot of people not come back into these rooms, so I'm assuming for some of them it got better out there. I can only assume, but for some reason it's like, well, everyone that comes back in is miserable. Yeah, that's why they're coming back in. That's like working at a hospital and just assuming that everybody in the world is sick. Because that's all you see is sick people. You're like, well, the ones that are here seem better because we treat them. I don't know, man. The ones out there, you know, they don't seem well at all because they're not getting treatment for their sickness. No, they're not coming here because they're not ill. And most people that work in that type of field understand this. And they understand that the only way to really prove whether or not anything is da-da-da is research and statistics. And you have to do random cross-section of people and determine whether or not, you know, the control group and the testing group show any significant difference. But we don't necessarily do that in 12-step fellowships. We just assume that God would tell us if it was any other way. So that's my take on jails, institutions, and death. I think it's a very silly thing to motivate your life by. I personally have stopped going to meetings, and if I die, I die. And if I don't die, I don't die. And I'm not going to live my life being afraid of dying, because sooner or later I'm going to lose that bet. So why go to a place that constantly reminds you? Literally, and I'll end on this, literally, I was going to this meeting, and up on the wall, there was a huge sign that said, "Don't die." That was supposed to be a motivational poster. It was a banner for one of the groups. Don't die. This is our motto. Don't die. It's like, what did they do? Like, when they got to the meeting, they looked at it there, and they looked at it, and they were like, "Yeah, I did it again. I didn't die today. That loser over there died. What a dumb punk." I mean, seriously, can you aim a little bit higher with your sayings? I don't know. Don't die and find some fulfillment in life. Don't die and reflect about your purpose and meaning. But no, because it's a religion. Religions don't do that. Anyways, I do appreciate anybody who's watching. And if you want to hear more of my ranting and raving, feel free to subscribe and like and leave comments and hit the bell after you subscribe. And then you got to jump through the hoop because, well, YouTube. Yeah, I mean, I got 22 years of this stuff. I haven't even gotten started yet. Hey, there you are. How you doing? Yeah. Hey, it's me again. Or unless this is the first video that you're watching, then this is the first time. But this is American Jesus. And the following, or the rest of this video, and actually all of this video, like even the parts before this part, are my opinions. So generally I just say, I'm American Jesus, and these are my opinions. So, now that that's out of the way, I do a series on 12-step fellowships, AA, NA, CA, CA, those people are fucking nuts! Al-Anon. Al-Anon's actually really kind of a sweet organization. They're not too serious about the steps. They're more about supporting one another, at least in my experience. CA, just nuts. And I'm just here to kind of let you hear some of my brilliant mind thoughts from the 22 years that I have spent in these fellowships. And today we're going to talk about it works if you work it in this video. Today you might be watching more than one video, and I don't know why you would. Anyways, it works if you work it. Now you hear this a lot in meetings, hey, works if you work it. And, my general, internal response, and sometimes my external response, especially later on after the decades, was like, good duh. Yeah, yep, I bet. That's like, hey, just if you walk somewhere, you're gonna get somewhere. Okay. Thanks, man. You all right? you fall on your head? So what this means is that there's supposedly some type of magic program that seems to work for everybody, except it doesn't, and it works for nearly nobody. But while you're working it, because working it includes going to meetings, staying clean. You stay clean, which is kind of bizarre because one of the things in working it is staying clean, which is the thing that you're trying to do. So that's like, hey man, if you start losing weight, you'll lose weight. Yeah. How do I see, even if you might not be able to hear them, but my dogs are literally, it has hurt their brain trying to process some of this stuff I've been talking about tonight. Anyways, so the whole it works if you work it kind of runs into a couple of, say, logical hurdles or logical walls or logical pitfalls or logical landmines. It's just not logical, is basically what I'm getting at. And along with like the weight loss analogy, another great analogy would be, if I opened a university, I wouldn't do that, but that's another story. But if I opened a university and let's say 0.07% of the people who enrolled in the university completed the university, and then I said, well, those are the people who worked it. It's not the other 99.93% fault that it didn't work, because my university is broken. It's broken. It's the fault of the university. It's the fault of the curriculum. There's something wrong that's not allowing people or people are not wanting to complete the process, or stay in the process. And I could go into some very obvious reasons why, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to spoil the surprise. But just saying it works if you work it is possibly one of the most ignorant things I've ever heard in my life. And I've been going to meetings for over 2 decades, so I've heard a lot of ignorant things. Ignorant in that logically they don't make any sense. And of course they don't, because it's a faith-based program. If I go to church and someone's talking about Noah, I'm going to go, nope. And they're going to go, faith. And I'm going to go, no, stupid. Well, the Lord works in mysterious ways. It works if you work it. And if you build the boat, then things will get on the boat. Yeah. Okay. What are you talking about? I'm not stupid. I need more than that. I need to understand what it is you're saying. And that's the funny thing, is that, because of the religiosity that exists within the groups, and the fellowships, that most people are turned away because they initially tried the whole God thing and it didn't work for them. And then it's like, oh, well, we'll send them here. And it does, because it doesn't have, look at that, step 3. Traditions. Oh, wow, they even think that God talks to them in groups. It works if you work it, or it doesn't work if you don't work it, or it works if you don't work it. I've seen lots of people who didn't work it that it worked for, and I've seen lots of people who work it that it didn't work for. I've seen people that sponsored lots and lots of people. But you have to define what it means to work. Like, what is it works? Like, like, what is working? Like, what is the payoff that you're looking for here? And then you also have to define what is working it. Because there's so many different types of ways of working the program. And everyone kind of, especially in these very conservative groups, you know, they have the right answer. And it's like, well, if you have the right answer, then I'm all for it, dude, and I will send everybody here. Let me meet all the people who have never relapsed, since the day they stepped foot in this door. And they go, well, you know, some people just don't work it. And I go, that makes no sense. Maybe it's because it doesn't work. That's why they stopped working it. How do you frickin' know? So I think I pretty much, you know, there was this horse and I beat it and it was already dead. And I think that's where we are with that. But, you know, it works if you work it. It's just another one of those empty platitudes that you're going to hear in the rooms. Just ignore it. If you have to go to meetings, or if you go to meetings and you like hanging out or whatever. I mean, there are some good people in meetings. But you don't have to work it. You know? Do you know when I said that? I almost felt like I was Satan. Because it's so indoctrinated into you. You don't have to work it. It doesn't make any sense. The whole program, part of the program, doesn't make any sense. Because it's not supposed to. It's faith-based. So, if you want to go to church, go to church. If you want to find some support to stay clean and sober or whatever, I don't know where to tell you to go, because the rooms are turning into churches. You know, and the people that are disgusted by it get run off, like myself. You know, the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous are religions. Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous are the way that they're being practiced right now in many areas. They would qualify as a religion, because they're a religion. Go and look it up, what it means to be a religion, and you're gonna go, wait, there's got to be more to it than that, because that's AA and that's NA, and it says in our book that we're spiritual and we're not religious. But you could write anything in a frickin' book. Doesn't make it true. Oh my goodness, my friends. Anyways, so that's all I have to say about it. If you work it, it works, and working it and jerking it. Yeah. Thanks for coming by. Hope you enjoyed my little rant on working and jerking. And I hope you're either working it or you're not working it, but I hope you're finding some way to find some meaning and purpose in your life. Because that's why we're here. And I don't know if we're here to work it or not. Sometimes I work it, like, out on the dance floor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Subscribe. Hit the notification button if you want to see more.
Kid, other side is something big. Do you think that what you did would bring you back to this?